Danger, darkness, Chaos Dwarfs. Welcome back to Warhammer 3, where the dastardly Dawizar have some demonic steampunk contraptions to share, and a particular mechanic that I would go so far as to call absolutely disgusting. Hold on to your butts. The ground is shaking and the earth is quaking as the High Elves march to war under the deluge of a Dreadquake Mortar. Some interesting ideas and units on display here, with XMT Contrarian Codex playing the Overlords of Zarduk, and Eastern Archer controlling the Azur. Now, it has been a while since we consistently covered the battle side of Total War. We'll be looking to ramp that up a bit as we head towards the DLC at the end of the year. Oh, that looked painful. Where have the High Elves gone? But yeah, in those gaps, the meta shifted quite a bit. Patches have come and gone, and there have been some wild changes. In particular, the Iron Demon Dreadquake Mortar, sometime in and around or before patch 5.0, gained the ability to shoot itself. Why this happened, I really have no idea. I think it was an underperforming unit in land battle and maybe domination, very rarely taken, and so they spitballed some ideas to make it mean. No matter the reason, if it was a meme pick before, it's certainly not anymore. If you pile in to try and kill it, whatever attempts to pin it down and surround it will be flattened like a pancake at Denny's, because it can lob a high explosive shell 5 feet in the air and then have it drop on itself to clear space, which means you gotta be creative when dealing with it. More on that in a moment. The weird thing about the Chaos Dwarf roster in every battle game mode really is that their top end stuff tends to be really good and their absolute bottom tier stuff tends to be really good for the price, but in the 500 and 1200 gold range, most of their units are pretty mediocre. Hobgoblins overpriced, Infernal Guard kinda meh. They're not a terrible faction, but they've seen better days. See if a Sorcerer Prophet on a mighty Bale Taurus can do something spicy and get them a dub. Eating W's like Jameis Winston, baby. Blah, 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 blah. Now on the other side, High Elves will need to advance across the beaten zone, already under pressure from the Dreadquake, and the Azur are cooking up something nasty for the Bale Taurus. Super common pick with the Sorcerer atop it. Archmage was ready for it. Moondragon and Tempest with Apotheosis and Arcane Unforging. Now, the Moondragon alone does not pose a huge threat to the Sorcerer, will not reliably crush that 1v1 or anything, even with Tempest, so they brought some insurance. You might be wondering, why in the everlasting hell would you bring the Omen of Azurian Phoenix and Fireborn Dragon Princes in this matchup? They deal flaming damage, they're going up against an entire roster of flame resist, right? Well, the answer is twofold. Number one, they have way more flame resist than the Chaos Dwarfs do. It's a difference between like 15 and 35 or 50%, so it works out in their favor. And number two, they need a second flyer to help deal with the Bale Taurus. So combined with Tempest, Moondragon, Archmage, and Phoenix should be a problem for the Chaos Dwarf Lord. Very good counter pick, even if it's not one of those that will outright win you the battle. And then should it land in a bad spot, or if the Dragon Princes get a good engagement anywhere with any of their infantry or cavalry, it should work out pretty well for the High Elves. So both players showing some matchup knowledge and fun army builds here, which is typically a good sign when it comes to having an entertaining battle. Spoiler alert, it's gonna be entertaining. A boom. First blood, as is so often the case, will go to the artillery, and what a shot it was by Lilith, Aerith Kiel, and the bloody-handed god. Hasha just made a damn mess, carving out the center of that spear formation and leaving the ground quaking like Pennsylvania Dutch. Here comes the Tempest. The Phoenix will not be super bothered by the fire ammo of Chaos Dwarf or Hobgoblin infantry, so as that aerial tornado makes for some very cinematic shots, the first of many duels between the Burb of Prey and the Bull shall begin. Probably the most common high-level performer on the roster for the Chaos Dwarfs is that Sorcerer Prophet on the Bale Taurus. Such a good lord choice. So many ways he can influence the outcome positively. He has Chalice of Blood and Darkness for regen when enemy mages are casting, and Burning Wrath as his main spell. Pretty good versus Seaguard and Archers. Moondragon already on the Iron Demon Dreadquake Mortar, just moving forward without a care in the world and going directly into the infantry. And now we are going to start seeing some of those shenanigans that I was talking about. Activate that overcharged engine, blow right towards the center of the High Elves army without a care in the world. Lubricated in its lane, thriving. Now, shooting yourself with the train to clear the way does come with some downsides, because when the train is caught in the explosion radius, those single entities don't really take damage from explosions because TW mechanics are weird. It does get slowed by 60% by its own Dreadquake, which means you can shoot it or goon it. And if there's one thing High Elves like, it's gooning. There's a reason why their souls fall prey to Slanesh. Now, the problem arises when you send anything except single entities to deal with it, because while SEMs won't take damage from the Dreadquake, really, Cav and infantry absolutely will. Even Dragon Princes, whose 35% flame resist, won't help them against explosion damage or the tremors thereafter. So as the train retreats and looks for a new way to engage, dropping another mortar shot, there should be plenty of friendly fire this battle as the Blunderbuss and Infernal Guard move up and try to get some shots into the Phoenix. You can see that shooting itself again slows it dramatically. Monstrous impact imbuing a whopping 60% slow, and the left side of the train took a broadside volley from the Blunderbussniches behind. Bit of friendly fire there. Main issue with this strat is pretty much evident on screen right now. Phoenix will have free attacks, and the charge will be blunted heavily by its own mortar. Lothar Seaguard hit by Blazing Wrath in the rear, White Lion Chariot slicing their way through the ranks of slaves up front. Bale Taurus will be healing anytime that Archmage casts cheap low cooldown spells like Apotheosis, and all the while, we've got the Dreadquake Mortar killing friend and foe alike, indiscriminately. So far, High Elves are playing this very well. Moondragon kind of being cautious playing around all those fire glaives, but Phoenix has shown no fear, and the train is in pain. Here come the Bull Centaur Renders with their great weapons, going after the White Lion Chariots, who will wisely retreat to the safety of their own infantry. Really well played there, good positioning. And a big Breath Attack and Dreadquake Mortar simultaneously. Breath Attack taking the fire glaives down to half HP, and Spear shattering under that withering impact. That was actually gross. And over on the Overlords of Zarduk right flank, Hobgoblin archers have moved up too far trying to shoot something and are engaged in melee as the Iron Demon War Engine continues its rampage. Now, another Burning Wrath in the background hitting the Lothar Seaguard, really nice cast, and we are seeing that the entire strategy of the Chaos Dwarfs right now is revolving around this train, charging into infantry, and then letting it rip with a big-time explosion from point-blank range. Awesome. Moondragon Breath Attack from on high, Blunderbuss and Fire Glaives trying to ward off the aerial supremacy of the Azure while the Demon Engine does its thing down below. Even those cannons mounted on the prow can put in some work. Flyers on both sides still being cautious, and from that standpoint, I'd say this pace favors the Dawi Zar, because the longer the Dragon and Phoenix take to kill that train, the more havoc it will cause, and if you wait too long, you're not really going to have an army left. Remember, it also got a price reduction last patch, so it's not quite the restrictive choice it might have been in days of yore. Tempest going down on the Bale Taurus once more, and like that to me is just like a little bit kind of super duper unfair. Like that isn't cool. I'm not gonna lie, I saw that and I'm like, holy shit, how does that even work, man? The Dreadquake used to have a minimum fire arc, which meant that it could not shoot stuff that it engaged it in melee. And honestly, I feel like if you get a good engagement off on the train and fully surround it with cavalry or armor-piercing infantry, you should be rewarded for that and not just immediately have your elite cavalry get exploded. I don't care what kind of artillery you are, there should be a minimum fire arc on that, because it doesn't make sense that a mortar should be able to fire something that's only 3 feet away. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, put like a 1/20th powder load in there so that it only goes 3 feet in the air and then lands directly beneath your train and then you don't even deal damage to yourself? Yeah, it's not cool. That stuff right there is not cool. And it's hilarious to watch, don't get me wrong. It's very entertaining. But yeah, it's not how any artillery piece in this game should work. I don't care how expensive. So it's up to 3,100 value already. And by the way, this battle is freaking far from over, because while all this has been going on, the Moondragon has been feasting, the chariots have been utilized very well, High Elves are very much still in this game. Problem, of course, is that their infantry is taking a beating right now, so they're gonna need to make something happen really soon, or that balance was gonna get out of control for them, because it's already shifted in the Dawizar's favor, which of course makes sense when we've seen multiple White Lions and Lothar Seaguard evaporate under those Dreadquake salvos. If the High Elves want to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, the Dreadquake has to die. Friendly fire. Holy balls. Those fire glaives are extremely upset about that one. It's like, you know what? Dreadquake's like, you know, I've had enough killing Azure. Let's kill some Dawizar too. That was insane. But yeah, Dreadquake needs to die, and of course, that Bale Taurus with the Sorcerer Prophet atop it. If those two units die, this Chaos Dwarf army is not particularly scary, but the Azure support is withering away. So are the slaves. Because again, the Dreadquake does not seem to care about friendly fire whatsoever. Another gorgeous breath attack on the fire glaives, and a good engagement here, trying to rout off the armor-piercing range troops so that these engagements with the single entities could go a little bit better. They still have to worry about the Bull Centaur renders, though, and they're charging their way over, about to get us round off on the Omen of Azurian. Cannot afford to lose the Dragon or the Phoenix. Terror Route may be incoming for the Blunderbuy and for those Infernal Guard fire glaives. Really good fight for the Overlords of Zarduk, though. Dragon Prince's Fireborn charging in, and they were really low after those Dreadquake shots. Centaur Render is going to have no problem at all putting them in the dirt for good with their bonus versus large and armor-piercing attacks. Phoenix manages to just barely escape from that situation, and the Lord for the Chaos Dwarfs is at half HP, so he's relatively healthy, all things considered. And the High Elves might have made a mistake not keeping the Omen of Azurian on that train for the majority of that battle. It's relatively low, down to about a third health. If the Phoenix had been on it for a couple more minutes there, not focusing on the Lord, don't get me wrong, you also have to deal with the Lord, but I think the Dreadquake was the more important target initially. God, that's such a nasty shot. Wow, that was insane to watch. Lothar and Seaguard evaporated under those dual Carronade shots. Actually disgusting. That unit is shattered. Now he's going to charge in and finish off the remnants. Oh my lord. Just absolute carnage. But yeah, I think maybe like 6, 7 more attacks from the Phoenix might have been enough to put that train down, and then it wouldn't be able to shoot. Oh my, is he actually going to shoot a single high explosive round to kill the final Lothar and Seaguard on an already shattered unit? No mercy, no respite for the Azur. By the way, quietly, the Archmage of the Lore of High Magic, up to 3,200 value, has as much value right now as the train does. Moondragon has been an absolute monster this game. Another Tempest going down on the Sorcerer. That'll give the Arcane Phoenix enough time to escape. Omen of Azurian looking for something to slaughter. They'd love to goon up on the Lord right now. The problem is there's still some fire glaives and shooting stuff down below that would put the hurt on them. So they are going to commit. They're going to try to use their flame resist to tank all this incoming damage, but it's too little, too late. The Dreadquake managed to fire all its ammunition, and that meant that the High Elf infantry just did not stand a chance in hell. They got quaked big time, and a super impressive performance from the Iron Demon Dreadquake Mortar. 3,700 value. Now the Lord himself on the Baal Taurus was more just like a distraction card effects for that, right? Like he absorbed so much of the aggro from that dragon and the Omen of Azurian in that game, and he straight up carried it. The Dreadquake straight up carried that battle. Again, I do not like the idea of a powerful artillery piece being able to shoot itself, because there's just dumb mechanics in this game where single entities don't take damage from explosive stuff at all. Same thing with Purple Sun Azarius, for example. You drop that on your own Lord and you don't end up taking any damage. Whereas on tabletop, if you were to drop that on like a group of ogres, for example, or I think certain single entities, they would die. In Total War, they basically don't take damage at all. Vortexes and explosive stuff don't work on SEMs. So that's kind of a cheesy mechanic. Of course, shooting yourself with your own artillery piece and not taking damage from it is a little bit dumb, and I think unintended. I think the easiest way to fix that is just give it its minimum fire arc again. They should have to be like at least 50 meters away or something for a mortar or artillery piece to shoot at a target. But it is cool to see such an awesome unit doing that much work. 427 kills, 3,700 value. And actually, the Moondragon had a little bit more value than it. It had almost 3,800. So really well played from Eastern Archer. I do think the Phoenix should have stayed on the train the whole game. If so, he might have been able to win that. But of course, there's the Bull Centaur renders that might have made that difficult in the late game situation. Landing a bird next to those monstrous cavalry could have gotten it killed. So well played to both players. Hope you all enjoyed. See you next time. Peace out.